Hello, everyone. Let's dive into it. Don't have that much time today, so let's just hit it on the head. We start off with Izuku spinning endlessly. Time untrackable in this black void until eventually he feels himself fall and smash onto a stone bridge. But no pain would come from it, as he would stand somewhat weakened and still very confused and sad and angry. He would be looking around, he would be trying to find out where he is. And there's only one way to go from on the bridge. And he doesn't want to fall off the side of this. It doesn't look pleasant. So he just keeps walking. It would feel like years he would be walking. Nothing but silence, the sound of his heartbeat, and his own footsteps. Until two figures would appear on the bridge. One cloaked in golden grace and light, and the other inky shadow mixed with porcelain and white sheen. These two creatures seemingly fighting, one trying to move ahead of the other, until this creature of light seemingly bashes his female form, sending it cascading off the cliff face. And this gate almost would appear, where it would now be standing. It would grow triple its size, becoming even more monolithic than what it already was. And it sits there, staring towards Izuku and all who come towards the gate. This woman looks familiar. Yes, the profile. The flaming wings. He stares at a representation of the Firehawk. Further past the gate, he hears a familiar cry, seemingly echoing and bursting as he looks past this golden gate, and he would see a planet with a moon shaped. Is that Pandora? That's Pandora's moon. hearing the wails almost instinctually able to pinpoint it. Hearing his mother's tortured screams coming from the moon of Pandora. Izuku would hear something else nipping seemingly at the back of his head, telling him, not now, soon. The Guardian will have her eyes elsewhere. And then, as this porcelain and black tendrilled woman would step beside him, her figure mesmerizing, would boop him on the nose and say, then you could come see me. Other than then, take care. And as this is said, this is Mother without her scars. As almost immediately, this Gate Guardian's eyes would glow a bright light and shine on this creature and Izuku. This creature would seemingly evaporate, hearing the tortured screams of his mother, but so much more louder. The last words he would hear is, have patience. We will see each other soon. Soon enough. Same with your sister, sadly. As the porcelain in an inky, shadowy form of his mother would vanish, and the light would focus on him, as he would jolt up from his bed, now in an upright position, sweat pouring down his face. But what would immediately hit after he awakes is pain. All-encompassing pain. This boy was asleep for 2 days. And the pain that racked him last for the last day. Once he was able to stand and look outside, something felt wrong. When he looked at the moon, his eyes turned black for a small moment, but for him, the entirety of what happened from the wildlife sanctuary all the way up until the death of Handsome Jack would play in his mind. As he would fall to the ground, checking what day it is, his eyes would go wide. They're getting the voice keys. He has to get to 1,000 cuts. And he has to get the boys together. Going on a small ham radio. Oh, calling in the last favor. reinforce defenses at the bunker. The Vault Hunters will go and attempt to strike there. Stall. I need time. The man in charge would know Izuku's will, essentially, because that was directly to him. Izuku's somewhat of an influential figure when it comes to the man who he speaks to in his mercenary company. So, that same day they all would mount up and get moving. Laying in wait, almost. Preparing for an ambush on top of the slab attack. Knowing that slabs get in helis often. They're trying to get as many turrets on their cars as they can because they need to take those fuckers out regardless of what happens. Izuku would begin to slowly walk to 1,000 cuts. The Vargas following him. And on the way, Boris, his trusted skag, would bend other skags to his will, essentially killing the alpha and making himself planted. The wildlife would be acting strange. For all the Vargists, all the skags, and between them and 1,000 cuts, scattered to the wind. Izuku, at this point, being carried by a badass Vargist hatchling. Well, not a badass one. It would be I forgot. It's like the God Goliath equivalent, and see to a Vargist hatchling. Not the flying one. I'm talking about the ones that dead ass just like come out of the fucking hive, right? Him sitting on one of those as the skittering horde on paw and carapace covered claw would rush across, going at intense speed. The invasion would begin. Bombardment immediately would befall the bunker's location. And people charging up after the death wall was put down. He would go and go and go harder and harder. Izuku in 1,000 cuts could hear the detonations of explosives and hear the thousands of gunshots. But he felt something else. Something lurking below the surface of the ground, following. Something big. He didn't know what it was. But this thing, and clearly fell for his siren song. Unknowing to him, and unknown to the Vault Hunters, it's a very big beast. A beast that an old friend, Hammerlock, would be very interested to kill. Hammerlock's white whale. Because this one took his arm. He wants to finish. But Izuku doesn't know that. So he's just going. Raging forward. As they get near to the slab encampment, almost immediately the Vargas take to the sky and begin attacking copters. As Izuku got even close to the base of the mountain, cutting through bandits and other sorts, cutting into Handsome Jack's comms, essentially hearing Jack say, "The bunker will take care of it. The bunker will take care of it. I gotta get down there. I don't know what the fuck's going on with it. He's here." As the comms would cut, seemingly switching to a different channel, Izuku would growl and say, "Pop's getting fucking wise. They can't let him get one up on me." As the bunker would take off, Izuku and his fucking horde of animals was alongside the mercenary unit, were able to beat the shit out of the slabs. But enough got in to do what was needed to make Jack panic. Couple slip-ups are dangerous in wartime. And Izuku feels, as he gets off this heavily mutated black carapace Vargant hatchling, it would immediately, he'd turn around and charge back into the fray as something would crack beneath his feet and burst upwards. Izuku's eyes going wide as this tri-jawed creature with tentacles thrashing would open its mouth, catch him in it, and go beneath the ground. Izuku seemingly, mentally, unknowing to himself, this thing is following his will. But it's not suffering the same mutations that the others do. But regardless, after a couple of seconds of him freaking the fuck out, he would realize, okay then, he would begin having it tunnel up the side, which people wouldn't really notice because parts of the mountain's already fallen off, fucking there's bombs being dropped, opt explosions everywhere. People wouldn't really be paying attention to the fucking side of a mountain. But Izuku notices out of the corner of his eye, the floating city of Sanctuary, which he takes very keen note of once he realizes where it is. Izuku, during this time, yes, I have a limited time. Phone's at 27. I don't like getting below 20. Once he realizes where that is, he cannot be distracted, he says. I must get to my sister. I must keep her safe. Unknown to him, as he bursts through the top, being ready for this creature to take bullets for him, they're already going down into the fucking zone. That little instant that he wasn't paying attention, that moment, the bunker was defeated. And it crashed to the ground like an angry comet. Izuku would see a gun on the ground as he gets up there, grabs it, cocks it. It's a very strange shotgun. But hey, he usually runs with shotguns and melee weapons, so it's good for him. And he takes a sniper that he found there, very clearly one that was discarded. The barrel's still hot. It's like someone was just using it. So he assumes it's one of the Vault Hunters. And from the profiles, most likely Zero. As Izuku climbs back into the mouth of this creature and has it burrow into the side. During him essentially grabbing two weapons that he would have ended up buying ammo from one of the lower locations, he would have been able to get what he needed. As he would burst into the building, into the small complex, the final pipe would break. An angel would fall to the ground. Now, for some reason, Izuku has not been able to be picked up, if you understand. Izuku, for some god unknown reason, has just been unable to be picked up by sirens after his most recent vision of the world's end, at least in his eyes, and it becoming chaotic. And he realizes what this will do to Father if he does not go back home. But first, it causes him to rage. And all the Vargas, all the Skags, Boris, they would all rage and fight even harder, almost as if they were defending their own young. They would begin fighting for everything. Vargant, that are wings that are ripped off of their body, the half clinging to life, would still skitter towards an enemy, knowing that it will die, but leaving an opening and for someone else to finish the job. The animals becoming significantly more hostile, more vicious to literally the entirety of anyone who is not wearing the colors of Hyperion, yellow or white, or both. But anybody in bandit attire, Oh, they're getting tuned the fuck up. Now, people would be distracted in the center of the bunker. After all, who wouldn't be distracted? It's, first off, they wouldn't really hear it as the pipe would burst. Granted, there would be like very little light showing, but I fucked up describing this. He's in like an observation room instead of the actual fucking spot where she died. And unknowing to him, about 10-15 seconds ago, Jack was in that fucking room trying to go down an elevator which just opened downstairs, where his daughter sat dead after giving her final words. Fuck you, Dad. Izuku would be enraged, so angry. He would break the glass, unknowing to him at the exact same time something else would happen. Roland would be shot straight through his fucking sternum by Jack. The people that are there scrambling for their weapons, Lilith lunging at Jack, but just as like cannon, the collar would be placed on her. Jack would attempt to go on this monologue until he hears a shot, another one ring out from behind him, something that no one really seen. I rolled to see if this person would have their shields up in time. They did not. This is Zero's sniper. One of Zero's snipers that he ended up trading out for one that he found on the bunker. For some fucking reason. I don't know why there was fucking money and shit in there. But as he looked and seen this intrinsic strangeness, as Commando Boy gets shot in his fucking skull, kids. Like, that's all I could put it as. This man's, his top got blown off, right? He dead. And almost immediately, because Jack already gave the order to kill them. So this was like milliseconds before they translocated. So Jack just sees someone's head get popped. Some of their brain matter come close to hitting him in the face. And it just kind of disappear. Here into nothing. As he would look towards the gunshot, and he would see Izuku. Oh, and Izuku would immediately jump from this fairly high point, slamming into the ground, running over to his sister. And just stop. Holding his sister in his arms, not saying a word, very clearly not even looking at Jack. Lilith is just standing there, very clearly pissed, looking at this kid. Because that's what Izuku is. He's a fucking... He's a teen. And she knows she just transported him and teleported them off. One of them's dead. Another one, this kid, added to a kill count. And Izuku just looks enraged. And he just says, "Why is this bitch still alive?" Because we could use her. For what? What can you possibly use this fucking skank for? There's a vault that could open up a weapon. Creature called the Warrior. Izuku would look down at his sister and he says, "Are you going to use sister for this?" Jack would immediately say no. And he's like, "Well, he was going to do that in Canada." Well, not in this one. Izuku softened Jack up more significantly more than what he would be in canon. Given the fact, he's still psychotic. He still thinks he's the hero. He still thinks what's happening is happening. But his family matters so much more to him now. Izuku would nod to himself. And he just says, "I'm so sorry. If I was here, if..." And Jack just puts his hand on his shoulder and says, "Don't worry about it. I guess she's happy now. She's in less distress." Izuku would nod, feeling the fact of the animals they have torn up Brick's militant group. Like, the bandits that he had with him, their little fucking boonie town, that's not a thing anymore. It's nothing but a big ass crematorium. It's a field filled with dead bodies that are being eaten by wild animals. Boris seemingly appearing out of the shadow of Izuku, who threw this black ichor, would immediately nuzzle up to him and begin whimpering. And he just says, "I know, Bori. I know. But we can make him pay for it." Still hugging his sister tightly. "I'm so sorry." As Hyperion troops would come flooding into the building. Izuku would pick up his body of his sister in the vault key. And the Firehawk. watches and sees this kid carry his sister, seemingly, out of the room and just staring daggers at her. And he just says, "Dad, we need her alive to do this, right?" Okay. He would be walking. As they got back on Hyperion Station, there would be a somber mood about the place. Jack quick to anger, and nothing being done that day, as one of the children of Handsome Jack has died, leaving Izuku the sole heir of Hyperion in the Hyperion Corporation. Izuku, during this time, would have long, vicious beating sessions with Lilith. And there were always like 16 people in the room to pull him off. And Lilith gets, seemingly unknown to Izuku, shunted memories of seemingly everything. Why he's doing what he's doing. Why this is happening. And a glimpse of what he could be. A titan. Of power when it comes to psionics. Onyx, and just what sirens are. Izuku would sit and wait, knowing that eventually it would be the time he would be forced to only like 2 beatings that Lilith would get, but she would get more than enough information to the point where she feels bad, because since Izuku is like 100% that nah, Crimson Raiders did this shit. Crimson Raiders wiped out a town. Crimson Raiders did this. And the thing is, the reason why he thinks the Crimson Raiders did it, and he's essentially fucked up the name of the god, the Red Eyes? Red Eyes. Eyes. But he's been so blinded in his hatred for years, only being reinforced by it, by his father and his sister even, and the friends that were left alive. As soon as that happened, blood was in the water. She realizes that's why he wasn't specifically targeting her. He just wanted murder. He wanted people to feel the same way he did. He wanted people to die, so they had the same pains and had the same heartache. And then the day of the corrupted wastes, the iridium wastes, Izuku and Lilith seemingly being more subdued than in the original, because her mind is clouded with doubt that, are we the good guys? Are we good people? Did we do this? Which, granted, it's a really odd time for a morality check, but ain't that some shit? But regardless of the timing, Izuku wishes for nothing but revenge, and for what little he has still not to be taken from him. So, after all is said and done, the attempted attack on the Fortress of Handsome Jack, the location where the vault is, Izuku stands in hiding. Lilith, thinking he was further up, ready to be on the front lines, waiting for some vault hunters to come, ready for blood. Sure, Izuku would take pot shots with a sniper. But to think that Izuku would be stupid and be on the front lines? No. That would be too weak of him. Because he's positive the Vault Hunters will get through to where they are. Izuku's just gonna make sure he squeezes off enough pot shots to make them slow enough so once they get there, it's already too late. The warrior is there. And instead of a Handsome Jack boss fight before the warrior, nah, you're just getting the Jack boss fight mixed with the warrior boss fight. Now, ain't that some shit? Yeah. This is bad. Because everything in canon happened. But instead of Brick and other homie crashing because, well, they took a bad hit from a rando, nah, Izuku fucking shot that bitch with a rocket launcher. Izuku's seen the ability to take two very well-known, hard-hitting badasses out of the equation for a hot second, so he took it. The Vault Hunters are getting beaten, and beaten badly. They're getting pushed back. Unknowing to him and Jack and the warrior, Lilith got her collar off. And Lilith joins in the fray, seemingly starting to even the tide. First where to go would be Jack. He wouldn't die, but oh fuck, he got knocked on his ass. But then the warrior would fall. And Izuku would fire his sniper round. And he would specifically not go for Lilith, for it is not her time. He knows when she must die, and how she must die, but not now, not yet. Salvador, as he presses the button and causing the skull of the warrior to be, well, blown off. His would be blown off in kind. Izuku and Boris would appear behind Zero and begin in this melee combat of a century. No one could really shoot because they will hit Zero. Oh, and Izuku and Zero are neck and neck when it comes to swordplay. Hey. But Boris is there, seemingly dipping in and out of shadow, of scratching at Zero's knee, biting at his heel, making it difficult to fight. After basically flipping Zero around and tossing him into Maya and the others, he would rush towards Jack. Lilith sending a wall of fire in between them, but Izuku holds his hand outwards and opens his hand wide as a hole would appear in it for him and Boris to jump through, grab Jack, and sink into the floor on his sniper perch. He would emerge out of a shadow, Jack coughing for air, not ready for what the fuck his son just did. And he just says, "We lost today, but we'll get him next time. I know we will. Come on." As he picks up Jack drearily as he limps towards the escape cruiser, with two people inside. Right. Two very familiar someones that survived through the assault and killed many bandits. Says, "So, it's been a while," as he presses a button, closing a docking port on this vessel as it begins to fly off. "So, I heard didn't know y'all two had a thing." He looks at both of his old friends from the town. Both of them kind of blushing and saying, "Shut up." Up, Izuku. "Alright, Reggie. No need to be testy." "Anyone know how Dominic's doing?" It's like, he stopped doing the soldiering thing. Wasn't his thing, he said. He started working in the science division, trying to make better loaders. Oh. So that's why that fucking loader had a laser instead of a fucking rocket launcher. Okay. That makes sense. Families together once again, eh? And it's like, well, it's nothing to be fucking proud out of. We lost. Lost as they leave orbit. And Izuku says, oh no, we didn't lose at all. As Izuku smiles evilly. And he just, one of the two pilots would look over their shoulder and say, fuck you mean? The warrior's dead. Izuku would let out a giggle. And he says, their leader's dead. I'm pretty sure I killed their lieutenants and people that helped them organize shit. They won't stand a chance, man. We just need to hold off. Need to convince my pops to be patient. After all, pretty certain that they're going to be dealing with something else other than Hyperion for a while. Until then, I need to fortify my spot and make sure nothing stupid fucking happens. A year and a half later, someone attempted to try to hostile takeover in Hyperion, and which Izuku immediately put an end to. Oh, and yes, I'm counting tails. And guess what happened? Our boy ain't dead. Scooter ain't dead. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna have to end it. I hope all of you have enjoyed. I want to see a catch a ride in the comments.